The following podcast has not been rated. You're listening to Fullbacks Are People Too, The Fact. And here's your host, CJ Newman.
You're listening to Fullbacks Are People Too, The Fact. This week has been a very interesting week in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. We've got quite a few coaching announcements going on. There has been some eliminations in the wild card rounds of the playoffs. There's some new matchups coming this weekend for the divisional round. There's a lot of news in the NFL coming up that we need to talk about. So today I brought in a good buddy of mine. His name is Brandon Stasko. I was the best man at his wedding. He's a good Baltimore Ravens fan, very knowledgeable football guy, pretty good with scouting of college quarterbacks, with overall college scouting. He called Odell Beckham Jr. a couple years ago when nobody else did, and he ended up becoming a pretty decent star, I would say. So that's his claim to fame as far as being a good scout, and nobody else was talking about Odell at the time, but he was all over him. So this week we're going to be talking about the coaching changes, the carousel with that, the upcoming games this weekend. We're going to talk a little Baltimore Ravens because we're homers, and whatever comes into our mind. Apparently at the end we're going to talk a little bit about some baseball. I got forced into that one. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You could just skip to the end if you want to. I understand completely. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my good buddy, Brandon Stasko. And welcome back to the FAP, ladies and gentlemen. This week I have on the line one of my good friends that I've known since middle school. I was the best man in his wedding. I've got a local Baltimore boy, Brandon Stasko. Brandon, how the hell are you?
I'm good, CJ. How you doing?
I'm pretty damn good tonight. The sun was shining earlier today, but it was very cold and windy out. How was things over your neck of the woods, Mr. Work from Home?
Cold, man. I got a wood in the fireplace right now, trying to get warm. And it's supposed to get even worse this weekend, so I don't look forward to that.
Wait a minute, that fireplace is real?
Yes, it's real. But
damn, I thought that was fake all this time.
No, I mean I only use it in like the January through March months when it's the coldest, but I don't use like real wood. You know, I buy like the yuppie wood.
He said wood.
You know, the kind you just light,
yeah,
and it lasts. So.
Starter wood and shit like that.
Right on.
Right. So, man, it has been a hell of a week in football. Would you agree with that?
I would say it's a little bit unusual of a week.
Yeah. It's been a hell of a week. It's been unusual, and it's been a lot of news packed right into 1 week. And most of the coaching positions have been filled, and it's not even the end of the season yet. It's very surprising, man.
Yes, it is surprising, and some of the picks for coaching are surprising as well. I'm not sure if that's a testament of, you know, what's going to be available when the season's over, but it is definitely unusual.
It certainly is, and we'll get into some of these coaching selections right now, such as looks like the Cleveland Browns have selected their offensive coordinator, the interim offensive coordinator for this past year, who before this year did not hold a position of offensive coordinator, was a career positional coach in Freddie Kitchens.
Yes. Oh, Cleveland, man. We will never understand the decisions that Cleveland makes, will we?
Yeah, so he held that for half a season, that position. And yes. The first thing he did was fire his defensive coordinator.
Yes, which let me just start off by saying that if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan right now.
Don't hang yourself.
I'm not hanging myself, but I'm feeling pretty good with the way the season went last year. I feel like the Browns exceeded expectations, and I give a lot of credit to Greg Williams for that.
as much as I hate to do the same,
Yes.
Greg Williams was a very integral part of that defense. He was a big part of turning the team around. I feel like the players actually gathered and they actually supported him. It felt like.
I agree 100%. And my thing is, if it ain't broke, why fix it? You know, I mean, you got Greg Williams that comes over, takes over from you, and they just completely change everything around. Now, I mean, I feel like Kitchens is a part of that, but I feel like Greg Williams is really the one that was the leader and the mold to put everything together. And I feel like Cleveland's putting too much on, you know, the play calling from Freddie Kitchens and the success that they've had offensively, and, you know, taking that and giving him the reins instead of Greg Williams, which I don't agree with, but I guess only time will tell with that.
And you could tell that defense was really starting to gel as the season went on. It seemed like the defense got a lot stronger. There was a lot more blitzes. They were able to tone up the band and get things going. It felt like the defensive side was getting its shit together. The offensive side was starting to produce as well. But in the end, Jimmy Haslam just seemed to pick out Freddie Kitchens as the main guy, which really shocked a lot of people. I mean, they had some interviews. They brought in Mike McCarthy to interview, and that would have been one hell of a hire. Let me tell you, I'm so into non-creative offenses, so why don't you get the potpourri of pathetic and get Jason Garrett in there as well?
Valid point. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know what happened internally with the whole Greg Williams thing. Do you know if he even was, if he even got an interview or anything for the head coach?
From what I read, he did. He got interviewed along with Freddie Kitchens, and then there was a potential interview for Mike McCarthy. They had the interim offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings come in and do an interview as well. Those are the only 4 candidates I'm aware of at this point.
And they went with Freddie Kitchens, a career position coach.
That's Freddie goddamn Kitchens to you. FGDK.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you have the most winning you've had in a long time. Why would you change it? I don't know. I feel like, everything that I've read about Freddie Kitchens is that he's a player's coach and kind of a goofball, and, is always kind of playing around with players and stuff. And I'm not sure how that translates to being a head coach. So I guess only time will tell with that one. But again, I'm not a fan. If I was in the seat and I was making the decision, or if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, I would have felt better with Greg Williams. Just a personal opinion.
I probably would have too, and it really hurts me to say that, because first off, I wouldn't have promoted Greg Williams in the first place to the interim.
Me either.
I would not have done that. But at the same time, who would you have gone with? Would you have gone with Freddie goddamn Kitchens as your interim coach if you were not to go with Greg Williams? I mean, who on the staff there would be even worthy of that? That's probably why Freddie Kitchens cleared house afterwards. Probably,
and I think he felt like, I think that maybe Greg Williams and Freddie Kitchens both felt that if either one of them were to take the head coach position, they wouldn't want each other. So I feel like if Greg Williams probably got the position, he would have fired Freddie Kitchens as well.
Well, let's rewind the tape a little bit. Back when Greg was first put into power, he was asked about Freddie Kitchens, because Freddie Kitchens, it blew my mind that he was named the offensive coordinator, because I thought they were going to keep Todd Haley. But Greg Williams was asked if he made the move for Freddie Kitchens, and he said, "I didn't make that move. That wasn't my idea." So that makes you think he wouldn't have been safe at all.
You're right. So there was turmoil from the beginning, but they worked together pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And honestly, I prefer historically, what offensive-minded coaches, how many of them have been successful who were defensive-minded coaches?
Well, it seems like we're getting a lot more offensive minds nowadays. You're getting your Sean McVays and your Kyle Shanahans that are coming in. A lot of these guys are gearing towards offensive minds, with the exception of a couple people here, like The next hire I want to talk about, Vic Fangio was hired as the head coach. Finally, after 33 years of playing in the NFL, he was appointed as a head coach. And I was listening to Pro Football Talk earlier. I think the only reason they went with Vic Fangio over Mike Munchak, who was also a candidate for the position, is that Vic Fangio said to John Elway, "You can pick the staff if you want to. I just want to be a head coach." What do you think about that?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I feel like if I'm a head coach, I want to pick who I want to be around. I want to put the people around me that I feel most successful and comfortable with. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, the people that you've gelled with in the past would probably be one of the people that you would hire first. So why would you want to go into a room full of strangers when you got your buddies who have been, at least you could have your pick of the litter in most head coaching positions. But if you can't have your pick of the litter, at least have your buddies. I mean, look at John Harbaugh with his buddies.
Right. I mean, I'm looking for people that are better than me. I'm looking for people that'll make me look good. There can't be too much loyalty as far as friendship. And I'm sure we'll get into John Harbaugh here shortly. But I'm putting people around me, whether I like them personally or not. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what success is going to, bring from that particular person that I hire. So I'm not looking to hire somebody, to go have beers with after the game. I'm looking for someone who's going to get the job done.
Well, at the same time, I think Gary Kubiak has proven in the past that he's able to get the job done on the offensive coordinator side. So he was actually appointed the offensive coordinator earlier today. I'm not sure if you even heard about that. But
yes, I did, and honestly, I like it a lot. I do. I like Kubiak. I don't like him as a head coach. I like him as an offensive coordinator. I think he is exactly what is needed to turn things around for them, and I look forward to seeing what happens with him there.
Wait a minute, didn't he work with Case Keenum in the past?
Keenum was with the Texans for, wasn't he?
I think he was with them for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I believe he was. But that's not going to matter because Kubiak, he likes to pick his quarterback.
Let's go ahead and rearrange our format here. I didn't even think about this. Let's go ahead and bring it up. There's a certain backup quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens that could potentially be available this offseason.
Right, and before you say his name, I just want to give some stats here. Under Kubiak, this particular person kind of changed their career around. Threw for just under 4,000 yards at 39.86, threw 27 touchdowns, which is a career high, to 12 interceptions, and just had a great year and is definitely a Kubiak type of guy in Mr. Joe Cool Flacco.
Yeah, it was definitely a magical season back in 2014. I'll never forget that. We went 10-6. We went in and beat Pittsburgh in the first round of the playoffs. It's just something I'll never forget. Yes. And Kubiak
runs that type of offense that Joe is most successful in. He's not successful in the Marty, I believe, in running the football type of offense.
And it's really a prime position right now. If Joe were to go over to the Denver Broncos at this point, he would be working with the quarterback coach, and the offensive coordinator that he was working with before, because I assume that this guy's going to come back as the quarterback coach, the one that we had here with him.
Yes,
I don't remember his name.
I don't either, but he goes everywhere that Kubiak goes. So.
Yeah, it seems like the tight end coach does the same thing too. I think he just has this little cluster of guys that he just loves. But they got the 10th overall pick in the draft. So but they did unload one of their best wide receivers in Demaryius Thomas in this past season. So I'm wondering, Do they have they still got Emmanuel Sanders, who is not a free agent coming up this year. They're going to keep him for another season, it looks like. They drafted a guy in the second round this past year who is set to be the number 2 receivers, Cortland Sutton. Got some pretty good tight ends. Offensive line is solid, pretty good, although Case Keenum would probably tell you otherwise. What do you think would happen if Joe were to come on this team next year and they got, I don't know, they went with like another wide receiver in the first round?
Right. You know, I'm a Joe Flacco fan. I like Joe Flacco. He's not, and I hate this word, he's not elite. He's not.
He's not.
He's not. But he can manage the crap out of a game. And he can make the throws when the throws need to be made. And when there's 2 minutes left on the clock and you need a 2-minute offense, you feel good when he's on the field. Am I wrong?
If he's in the right scheme. I mean, if he's playing Marty ball. Then,
right. Not Marty ball.
Yeah. If he's playing the Gary Kubiak West Coast offense and then they go, because Gary actually knew how to do a 2-minute drill. He definitely coached a 2-minute drill like no other guy. For the most part, it's slow and methodical as far as his version of the West Coast offense. West Coast offense, for the most part, is supposed to be short passes to set up the long run or the long throw. His version is the runs to set up the long throw. So it's
right. And Joe Flacco likes what?
He likes throwing the deep ball.
Yes, he does. So, I mean, it just works for him. Joe's comfortable with that. So, I mean, I think it would be a good pickup for them. And, you know, their defense is no scrub. I think if I'm Joe Flacco, I feel like Denver is a good spot for me. It would feel good to have, and that's just assuming that Kubiak would want Joe, right? Mm-hmm. But if I did, it would feel good knowing that I was with somebody that I was successful with, I feel comfortable with, and above all, they want me.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I feel like it would be a good landing spot for Joe, and if it does happen, I'll be very happy for him because he kind of got shafted here in Baltimore his last season.
He did, and it's not just this last season. It's been the past couple seasons. It's just this Marty offense. It's just not him. It really isn't him, and I'm not going to put all the blame on Marty or John Harbaugh with Joe because he's not. You know, he's not that word elite, yeah. But with the right offense, he can be pretty darn good for you, and you can win a Super Bowl with him. And I definitely believe that you can win a Super Bowl with him now.
So do you think, I'll hold that thought. Let's see here. I think that's all I wanted to cover as far as the Broncos were concerned. Anything?
Well, the Broncos, they have some free agents on defense, don't they?
Let's see here. Nobody really that comes. I'm looking at the free agent list right now. There's nobody really that's a starter that per se that's going to be coming up.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, that's even more of a case. Denver and total defense was do you have that in front of you, what they were at?
No, I don't have that in front of me, but there is one name that is going to be coming up, Shane Ray, although he kind of fell off in favor of Chubb. So it's really not going to be too much of a drop off at that point.
Okay, Von Miller, he's not coming up?
No, he's signed for probably 2-3 more years. They may do a restructure. Okay. Him. Did you know Gino Gradkowski's on this team?
He is?
Yes. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent after the season's over, though. So
wow.
End up, retiring and being a piece of shit somewhere.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I forgot he was even a thing anymore. I mean, he's part of the reason why the 2013 season was so bad.
Alrighty then.
That offensive line in general, goodness, that was just an awful thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm seeing Denver is number 7 in defense. So I just to touch on that whole Joe Flacco to Denver thing. I mean, great defense. And you know, I think Denver would do pretty darn well with that.
I don't disagree at all. I think it's going to be a sight to see if it does. I got a feeling it's going to happen. What do you think?
I think it's going to be Denver or it's going to be Jacksonville.
There's a couple loading spots for Joe at this point. I mean, Jacksonville's definitely one. You swap out the number 5s, Blake Bortles and Joe Flacco. So that's one. You could do. I was going to say Tampa Bay, but it looks like the new hire, Bruce Arians, is really got his finger wrapped around Jameis Winston right now. I thought he was going to dump him like a sack of potatoes, but I guess I'm wrong.
I'm not big on Jameis Winston, but I think there's going to be a handful of teams.
Yeah, New York Giants, interested. Even so. I mean, they're
Giants, the Jets.
Do you think the Jets are going to dump Darnold?
I don't see why they would. Now, the reason would be different for the Jets. The Jets would be more of a bring a veteran guy in, because I don't think they're convinced on Darnold yet, if that makes sense. I know he showed some flashes, but I'm not sure they're all in on him yet.
Gotcha. And it's going to take whoever this next head coach is, which, by the way, is now Adam Gase,
yes,
to decide who the next quarterback is going to be for that team. I got a feeling he's not going to stir the shit as far as the quarterback situation is concerned. Who is the backup right now? Josh McCown, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so, yes. McCown, yes. But he's still playing. I don't know how, but yes.
Yeah, he's held together with bubblegum and cum, but he's managed to keep himself in the game because he's just been a career backup. I mean, for the most part, other than that 1 year in Chicago where he took over for Jay Cutler, he's been the backup for every team in the NFL. And, of course, his stints on the Jets where he's been the starter. But the guy's a solid guy. I'm not sure if he's going to play much longer, to be honest with you, but maybe it could be a good landing situation for Joe Flacco. But Adam Gase, man, would you have made that pick if you were the owner of the Jets?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, the past 2 years under 500. I mean, he had 1 year in 2016 where he, made the wild card. And lost to Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't get that. I mean, I feel like they could have waited until the season ended and really seen what was available from there as far as a young coordinator or something like that would come available for a head coach job. I don't know how he goes from jumping from failing in Miami to going to one of the largest sports markets in the country.
I feel like if he wasn't so headstrong on keeping Ryan Tannehill, he might have had another year on his contract.
Maybe. But, whatever he was doing wasn't working altogether. I don't think it was just from a quarterback position. I think there was a lot of, I don't know. It just wasn't working. And it doesn't make sense because they had some pretty good wins this year, Oh,
yeah, that lateral movement for the Patriots win.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's what helped him, get another gig so quickly, but.
Can you remember another time where a lateral movement like that actually won a game in a professional league?
I was going to say in college, yes. And even in that aspect, it's very few and far between. In NFL, I can't think of one.
I can't think of one in our lifetime at the very least.
Now, I know I've seen some like old tapes of it happening before, on like YouTube and stuff, but a long time ago.
I mean, the only closest thing I can remember with a lateral movement winning the game was the Music City Miracle. And that was just a simple one lateral across the field, whether it was forward or backward.
Right. It wasn't the whole several laterals and
yeah, there was
dodging,
no hook and ladder and whatnot.
Just special teams is just, evolved so well in the NFL that it's just too hard to do. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea I have no idea what Adam Gase's plans are to do in New York, or what the Jets' thinking was in hiring him, but they seen something they liked. I don't see it. Do you?
I don't either. And matter of fact, I'm going to go on record here and say that I'm really not a fan of any of the signings thus far, except for, and not even, I was going to say Freddie goddamn Kitchens, but that's just because the FAPT League loves him so much. I don't know why, but I don't like any of these coach signings so far.
Yeah, I mean, and there's one gentleman that will be available for a coaching position that has coached before and has been out of coaching for a little while and had a lot of success with the Jets. And that's Rex Ryan.
Sexy Rexy.
Yes. And he made a recipe with the Jets that worked. Ground and pound. Now, some people may say that that's outdated, but the league always seems to evolve back into a defensive ground and pound can win championships type of league. And
it helps when you have LaDainian Tomlinson as your running back.
Oh, of course. But I mean, somebody's got to block for him too.
True.
And
not Buck Fumble.
Right. Yeah. Sanchez kind of fell off there towards the end. As most mobile quarterbacks wind up doing, they wind up having these flashes of greatness, and then they try to evolve into the NFL, and it doesn't work.
He was a backup for a little bit of time this year for the Washington Redskins. That was a pretty interesting time. Then he got the bench for what the fuck was his name?
You're right. I don't even know. I can't even think of his name either. I was just thinking the same thing because I mean, I wanted to kind of see Sanchez play. I wanted to see if he had anything else left in the tank.
The Sanchez.
Yeah, the Sanchez. But when Rex Ryan had that Jets team, what he was doing worked. And that was the last time anything really worked for them. And it worked. And I'm not saying Rex is some great football mind, but I feel like he got a little bit of shafted in Buffalo.
He got screwed over in New York, first off, because he didn't make the decision to bring in Tim Tebow and spend a first-round pick on him.
No, I mean, who in the right mind would?
Definitely not that fucking GM moron.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that
first-round pick. When you look at that,
right? When you looked at Tim Tebow, he's maybe the greatest college football quarterback to ever play.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at a college mobile quarterback, you look at can you teach them NFL schemes and standing in the pocket and throwing. But the thing with Tim Tebow was he had that goofy wind-up throw that it was just goofy. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like it's even more goofy than the way Lamar Jackson holds the football. But he kind of like winds it up on the side and like flicks it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it hurts even more the fact that he's left-handed.
Right. And it just takes too long to come out of his hand. It was just weird, and they thought that they could coach that. And I don't know.
I've seen him throw too many ducks. It was pretty bad watching Tim Tebow try to pass a football. Even he honestly got better back when he was brought on for being the third string quarterback for the Eagles about 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
His mechanics were getting a lot better, but at the same time, it wasn't going to work. He's not a natural thrower of the football, as some people like to say. He's just not that guy. I mean, I hope he's doing well in baseball. I saw him the other day on doing announcing for college football, so I'm not sure if he's still in baseball or not.
Yeah, I just read today that he got engaged, and
oh wow.
If you know anything about his religion or whatever, it's kind of like a party for him because, you know, he soon gets to take that next step in life.
He gets to finally have sex. Good for
him. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a picture of his woman. She's a good-looking woman.
Very good for him. I'm very proud of him.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she was, you know, something crazy like Mormon or something. But yeah, good for him. But yeah,
crazy. Like,
I mean, that dude is one heck of an athlete.
Sorry,
I mean,
Mormon fans listening.
Hey, man, all religions are weird.
Yeah, even my own.
Right, exactly. Christianity, they're all weird.
Yep.
It's just not all of them knock on your door.
Oh boy.
So, anyways,
down that hole.
No.
All right,
But
so,
yeah, I mean,
Adam Gase is just a fucking horrible pick, in my opinion. I would have personally signed him as an offensive coordinator. I would have been okay with that because
right. I mean, that's what you would expect after you fail being a head coach. I mean, and to get hired that quickly is it's a little absurd.
Speaking of getting hired quickly, somebody that the Jets courted and then the Cardinals signed. Who the fuck is Cliff Kingsbury, and why should I care?
When you sent me that, I was doing some research because I don't even know who the heck he is. There's a lot of names coming out, and I have no idea who these people are. I mean, he doesn't even have a cool name like Freddie Kitchens.
I know, right? That's a pretty badass name.
I mean, what Freddie Kitchens has going for him, his name's Freddie Kitchens. So I don't know, but it's starting to feel like when we're looking for potential coaches that before we would just pull up other team rosters and we would look at, who was the successful coordinators. But now we're going even further down the list to look at who was, successful as a quarterback coach, a, defensive back coach. And I mean, I guess you just got to go further down the list now. And I know we have John Harbaugh, who was a special teams guy, but he was only special teams for like a year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a defensive back coach before
right.
that.
He was Andy Reid only made him a special teams coordinator so he could be considered for a head coaching position.
You want to hear some shit? You want to hear what was on the Arizona Cardinals website as a reason why he was hired? One of the reasons why?
It laid on me. He
was friends with Sean McVay.
He was friends
with Sean McVay. He's good friends with him, apparently.
Well,
and that was taken off the website not too long after that.
He's got nudes of someone's daughter. That's what I think. I mean, how else do you explain some of these?
The guy was he got fired from Texas Tech, if I'm not mistaken. He had pretty good quarterbacks there. He had Baker Mayfield, he had Patrick Mahomes, and at some point he had to choose between fucking Baker Mayfield and Davis Webb as the quarterback. So that's really a decision that he had to make at some point in his life. And then, Brandon, I got to ask you, if you had that decision to make, who would you pick?
Could I pick neither?
Oh, come on. You really hate Baker Mayfield that much?
I don't hate Baker Mayfield.
He's done a lot for the Browns this year, and he did pretty well. He does,
and you can't discount that. You can't discount that. I would rather have Baker Mayfield than who we have.
We'll get to that later.
No, I'm just being real with you. I feel like Baker's got a really good arm. I feel like he's just young and dumb right now, and he's doing some real stupid stuff. I would rather have Baker Mayfield
over Davis Webb.
Gun to my head, I'm taking Baker Mayfield.
Definitely.
But then again, we weren't in that position, when that happened. So it's hard to look at it now and feel that way. You know what I mean?
Yep, I hear you. And I just want to know what the hell started this. Like, where did these two interviews with the Jets and the Cardinals come from? He was fired from Texas Tech. He was hired as the offensive coordinator for USC. And honestly, I think that if he thought that he had a chance of being a head coach in the NFL, he wouldn't have took that USC job.
Right. And see, the other thing I'm thinking about now that I thought about today is organizations, when they interview people, they have to interview at least one black coach candidate, don't they?
Well, they have to have a minority, so it could be like a Mexican person or a Canadian Asian or whatever. I don't know.
Canadian, yeah. But I am not seeing many. I'm not seeing any of that.
I just had to look at a picture of the guy. I had no idea he was white.
Yeah, he kind of he looks like a celebrity, but I can't think of his name. He's got kind of that like short hair that you could like prop up in the front, flip up in the front a little bit.
Kind of looks like Ryan Gosling.
That's what it is. Ryan Gosling. You got it. Yep, that's who I think too. He kind of looks like that.
Yeah, good for him.
Right, and he dates Holly Saunders from Fox Sports too.
Oh God, I thought you were going to say Holly Tennyson. For those of you who are listening, that was the person we went to high school with, and that would have been funny as hell. Hey, dates Holly Tennyson. That would have been funny as shit. But it's not. It's not the same person. It's definitely not. So he was. I don't know if you know this, but he was actually a 6th round draft pick back in 2003. So he failed in the NFL. He was only on practice squads for the most part, or off-season squads. He went to CFL to be a player, and then he bombed out eventually in 2007.
Oh, yeah. He was with Montreal and Winnipeg in 2007, right?
Yeah, the year we graduated, buddy.
Yeah, and then he went on to coach in Houston as an offensive quality control coach. What is that?
I don't know, but I feel like that's something that Mike Pettin had on this team. He was like a defensive quality control coach or something like that, but before he got promoted to linebacker coach. I don't know what the fuck that does.
I think it's just to shove something, just to create a position, just to put someone on the staff that you want.
Right, just another consultant, really. Right.
So he was in Houston for about 3 or 4 years. Then he went to Texas A&M, then Texas Tech as the head coach. So it only took him 3, 4, 5 years to become a head coach at a major college school, which is pretty quick if you ask me.
I agree with that 100%.
I mean, this isn't some small, some small school. This isn't ACC. I mean, ACC Maryland or something like that. This is Texas Tech. So, I mean, it's a big school in 5 years. And then he's been there for another 5 years. He becomes a head coach in NFL. Now, I do not like coaches that come directly from college as head coaches and then come right over to the NFL to be head coaches.
It's very rare that it ever works out. I mean, think about what Chip Kelly was one of those guys.
Right. It never really works out, man. I mean, I get he was in Houston.
Yep.
But I'm not. See, it's not even the Houston Texans. It's Houston Cougars. It's so that's a lot to explain, man. That's a lot to explain how you go from a Houston small school and then straight over to Texas A&M 4 years later to become an offensive coordinator and then right to head coach. So that's weird. I don't know. He's got to be doing something pretty amazing if that's the case.
I think he stumbled onto something earlier, naked pictures of somebody.
Yeah, I think so.
It's amazing. And he's coming into one hell of a position, too. They have the number 1 overall pick. So what do you do with that? You have the Rosen one in Josh Rosen on this team. Do you trade him off and get another quarterback, or do you keep the quarterback and draft a wide receiver? What are you doing, man? You got Larry Fitzgerald's probably going to hang him up.
Well, this is a good time for me to give my opinion on the best wide receiver coming out of this draft. This is someone who may not have the biggest name out there right now, but I think this is kind of someone that is going to do really well in the NFL. And his name's Jordan Humphrey from out of Texas. He's a Longhorn. And he just finished this season with 86 receptions, 1,176 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4 games over 100 yards. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. This is somebody, in my opinion, who will be a game changer. So this is someone that even Arizona I think this is a first rounder. I think this is someone even Arizona should look at, because I don't think he's going to be a top 10 pick. I think that where Arizona sits right now, I think they need multiple picks. So I'm not picking at one if I'm Arizona. I'm trading one and I'm moving back. I'm going to try and get, a couple extra picks in, the second round, move back towards the middle of the first and get a couple in the second round, because you need to draft another quarterback. In my opinion, you got to draft another one.
So who do you think is the consensus number one right now at this point?
I don't feel that there is this isn't a good quarterback NFL draft.
No, I didn't mean quarterback. I meant overall who should be drafted number one. You think Bosa should get it?
No.
Everybody should just trade back, right? So there can be no number one.
I wouldn't want to be a general manager with the number one pick, would you?
This year? No, not really.
Any year. I feel like...
Well, you got a boom or bust chance with the number one pick. So I would probably trade back and get more picks and maybe get an RG3 type trade, Right.
I would go as far to say that I don't think maybe even a quarterback gets drafted in the top 10. That's how. I mean, the only quarterback that would be worthy would be Haskins.
And who needs one that bad this year? I mean, think about that, especially in the top 10.
Jacksonville.
Are they in the top 10?
Yes. They are picking, let's see.
Number 7.
7, yeah.
The Giants.
Giants.
Yeah. Maybe Detroit finally pulls the trigger.
Maybe. And then you have Broncos at 10 who could. But is Haskins worth the top 10? I would hate to pick that.
I would too. It would suck.
Yeah, I mean, if I gun to my head as the Arizona Cardinals had to pick number one, gun to my head, I would pick a Jim Harbaugh guy and Gary, which is a defensive end out of Michigan.
That can never do without a pass rush, right?
No.
Would he translate good to a 3-4 though?
A good defensive end shouldn't have an issue doing that.
Yeah. You got to stand up a little more though.
But a good defensive end shouldn't have a problem with that. An athlete's an athlete. And I get that, but I hate that argument. I hate that argument where it's like, you're an offensive lineman on the, and you're on the left or the right. If you're an athlete, you should be able to adjust to that.
I agree. It's
that's like saying, and I hate to use an analogy that is kind of lame, but that's like saying, in tennis, I'm only using my right hand, to hit the ball because I'm not that great with my left. Well, it doesn't work that way.
You hit it with whatever you got there, whatever can
you hit it
ball.
where you can reach the ball. You know what I mean? I get it. You get paid a lot of money to do this or that, but I mean, I feel like an athlete should be, and this is not somebody that's been in the NFL for years and has to suddenly, this is someone in college, and they're coming out fresh. So I'm big on picking defense. If I'm picking high, I would rather pick a defensive player than I would an offensive player.
Yeah, well, unless there's some game-changing wide receiver out there, then I would probably err on the side of the caution and get a.
But how many times have we seen game-changing? We're told, "Oh, this guy's game-changing," and then, I gave you an example of one that I think is great, but I can't tell you that he's slam dunk going to succeed. Nobody can.
Yeah, look at what happened with DJ Moore last year. He was picked first of the wide recreceiper crop, and
me and you were yelling at the TV.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to get him.
Right, yelling, pick him. And of course, our first pick didn't pan out that well, but we'll see how that pays off down the road.
Yeah, he gets a mulligan for being injured for a good chunk of the year. We'll see what happens.
He does. It just sucks when you pick somebody
and they're not available right away.
Right.
Like
in the first round.
Yeah.
And they just don't contribute like that right away.
Right. So, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about contributing right away. I interviewed either last week or the week before. It was the week before. Chad Wells, good friend of both you and mine. He had an opinion of Lamar Jackson that I would dare say is contrary to yours. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, and let me start off by saying that I love Chad Wells, chef.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
I love him a lot. But boy, did it hurt to listen to that. I don't know. And you know what? I think it has to do a lot with that time when the Ravens were what they were doing worked. It worked.
It did.
And
work.
a lot of people got blinded by, that success. But me, I remind you every little week that it's not going to last long. And it's cool while it works, but it never works long term. It's never worked long term. And when you say that, most people go, well, Mike Vick, it worked for Mike Vick. Lamar Jackson doesn't have half the arm Michael Vick did. Not half.
Now, I've seen him launching the combine. He had a pretty decent arm. He was able to throw for 70 some odd yards. So it's not terrible. He can do it. It's just his accuracy is hell.
Right. I'm talking about all around. We've had this conversation. You've looked at the film. How many times do you see wide receivers wide open?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but watching the Charger, I put myself through hell this past week and actually watched the Chargers game again from the coaching perspective. Mm-hmm. And just watching how many times Crabtree, of all people, was open down the field. I mean, that guy is not known for his speed, and he was open quite a few times. And Lamar either ran it himself, missed them, tried for the check down, or did something other than that.
What I see him tucking the ball before he finishes his reads. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing him tuck the ball back in and already made up his mind, his head, that I'm either going to run and pass this line of scrimmage, or I'm going to tuck it and I'm going to run to the left or to the right and try and scramble until someone gets open. And I guess that's okay. It's just, I don't know, man. This offensive line, let me start off by saying, is not good. It is not.
Who's the weakest link on it as far as the starter is concerned?
A center.
I would agree with that, Matt.
Every one of them?
Yeah. Well, not everyone. I mean, goddamn, Yonda's okay.
No, I mean, anyone that they throw in center has just been awful.
The left guard position has been changing a lot. I don't know if you noticed this, but they actually changed it during the game. They took Hurst out and they put Bozeman back in.
Yeah. How many times did Stanley get beat? Did you see that?
Stanley got beat quite a few times. He's also been injured quite a few times this season. He's very. I hate to bring this up again, but I always bring it up myself. Notre Dame players can be known for being very soft and getting injured very easily. So that's just, I don't know if it's something they're doing over there, the conditioning, but Ronnie Stanley is definitely living up to that moniker, and he's been injured quite a few times this season already.
Yes. I agree 100%. So, I'm not putting it all on Lamar Jackson, but I mean, they really want to run this RPO, mobile quarterback type offense. And I mean, I just ask, long term, where has it worked? Give me an example.
I can't think of a single one long term.
Right.
Maybe 2 years it worked in San Fran.
Yeah. Kaepernick looked really good in those early years. It's to me, it's like Lamar got so much credit for them wins. And I'm over here going, wait a minute, he led the offense to 16 points and was on the opponent's half of the field, for 3 drives, and the defense had a pick 6. What was that, the first time we played San Diego?
Well, the one thing, yeah, I agree. There wasn't a pick 6 in that game, I don't think.
One of the games it was a pick 6. I can't think of off the top of my head, but it was just constant. The defense was bailing him out, and in my mind, he did no better than what Joe Flacco could do. The only thing that he did better was he kept the defense off the field and controlled the time and kept the defense fresh.
The scheme definitely changed. I don't think we were going to make it to the playoffs continuing with the standard Marty Ball procedure. We needed to definitely go more towards a Greg Roman style running offense, but not quarterback running necessarily. Maybe doing the option every once in a while, but the thing is, the accuracy on Lamar is a problem. I personally think it's developable. Is that a word? Developable?
I don't even know. You're asking the wrong person, brother.
Right. I think that it's something you can work on for sure, but
it's not something that this offense wants. That's what people are neglecting, is that it's not something that Marty Morningwig and John Harbaugh want. They don't want a guy that can stand up in the pocket and launch them. They want that option. And I mean, that's what they want. You're not going to see Lamar throw a ball 30 times in a game. It's not going to happen.
It's definitely not. But
it's just not what they want.
Be completed for those 10 times a game that he does throw it.
Right, but I still think that on a good defense, and credit to San Diego, because they made the adjustments that they needed to. They bring their safeties up. They played them as linebackers, and they just completely stuffed it. And once you take that one dimension away that Lamar Jackson is really good at, he's got nothing else.
By the way, you're the second person today that's called them San Diego, and I still honestly do it myself. I don't know why it's so hard.
The announcers on TV say it and catch themselves all the time.
I don't know why it was so hard for me to do this with San Diego, but I was so willing to get on board with LA Rams. I don't get it.
I don't. It's going to be even harder saying the Vegas Raiders.
I can get along with that, though. I could actually see myself saying Vegas Raiders or the Sin City Raiders even.
It's like when the year changes, you keep accidentally, like right now, you keep accidentally writing 2018, and you scribble it out and put a 9.
Yeah.
It's like that for a while. So, I mean,
it wasn't for me for the Rams. I was able to do LA Rams right away. Maybe it's because they've been there before and recently in our lifetime, but I don't know. It's just weird for me. But yeah, the Chargers figured it out. They sent the defense, and I know you're not a big fan of them, but Joey Bosa really kept them in check. He was able to sniff out the option and be able to sack them quite a few times. Right.
They figured it out. And, people... And people, I don't understand what the hype with Lamar Jackson is. I really don't. I don't see enough promising stuff, and I didn't see it in college, that says that he is a franchise type guy. I really think the Ravens and Harbaugh and DaCosta are really just praying that this plans out. I personally thought that there was better options in that draft in later rounds that you could have developed.
Would you have gone with Mason Rudolph?
That is who I would have picked. Yes. That's who I would. You know who I ideally like. I like them big, tall, big arm quarterbacks that stand in there and take a hit. I hate to say it, but I like the Ben Roethlisberger type of quarterback. I like someone that's going to stand in there and they're going to wait to the very last second to get drilled to deliver a pass.
I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. But this league seems to be evolving more towards a guy that can run. I don't necessarily think that.
I disagree. I think it's a phase. I think it's a phase. I think it's an experiment, and I think that Chargers game against the Ravens really put a bruise on that theory of that. That's what the league is evolving to. I mean, 5 years ago we were talking about how the league is evolving to these, top tier spread offenses. That you need these smaller, faster, lighter defenses to defend with. So I don't know. I think again, I think the NFL always comes full circle.
It's been pretty consistent, though. I mean, over the past couple of years, at least since 2012, there's been a lot more mobile quarterbacks being brought in and starting. I mean, look at the Kaepernick situation. Look at Russell Wilson. Your favorite Texans quarterback right now is Deshaun Watson.
No. No. So, but you know what? I got to give Watson some credit.
He's playing a lot better than he did in college.
I think and again, there's going to be a lot of people in Baltimore that disagree with me, but I think that Watson is the better of the mobile quarterbacks right now.
I think because he's the best of them all, to be honest with you.
Right. I agree because he can throw. He can throw. And it's just so many excuses made up for Lamar Jackson. Oh, Crabtree drops and this and that and the other. And I get it. Crabtree drops and John Brown had some high drops, but when these guys are getting the ball regularly, the drops aren't as high as they are.
Yeah. How many times did Brown or Crabtree drop with Flacco? Just thinking about that. I mean, Crabtree dropped everything, but
right. I don't think Crabtree. I think Crabtree had. Crap. Sorry. You know, I hate when you click a page and a video just starts to automatically play. That drives me nuts.
Porn.
No, it's a football page.
You're full of shit.
It's going on about the Antonio Brown debacle. But
that was a good topic last week. Goodness.
Right, but I mean, I'm just going to pull up John Brown here. John Brown had some great numbers with Joe Flacco.
He really did. He was connecting with him. He was the number one receiver for a while. I thought that he was going to be our number one going into next year. And even so, he said at the end of the season he'd love to come back next year, but you know that was some PR bullshit, and he doesn't want to come back.
Oh, it was PR. It was PR. He wants to catch the ball. He wants to catch the ball, and he came here thinking Joe Flacco was going to continuously deliver him the ball. That's why he came here. He wanted a guy with a big arm to give him passes. And when Lamar Jackson started, I mean, he got 2 receptions. I mean, with Joe Flacco, he averaged, I think, 4 receptions a game.
And you got to think the next breath that he said after that was on the phone with his agent saying, "Get me the fuck out of here." It had to have been.
Yeah, I don't think he's interested.
I wouldn't be either. I mean, the guy is not catching, he's blocking.
Right. I mean, this is a guy that, I mean, against the Chargers, he averaged 7 yards. Against the Browns, he averaged 7 yards. The first time we played the Chargers, 13. Buccaneers, 9. Chiefs, 11. Falcons, 0. Raiders, 25. What was Lamar's first game?
Was it the Falcons game or was it the one right before that? Yeah, it was before that because he had a home game first. It was the Raiders.
Okay, so he played the Raiders and he gave John Brown 1 pass for 25 yards. And that was like the best that he had with him. Joe had a 116-yard game, 134, 58, 86, 92. He had 1 touchdown with Lamar Jackson and had 4 with Joe Flacco.
I personally still think that it's salvageable. I know you don't think that, but I think Lamar can develop into something if he's given the opportunity. If he actually has good coaching. I'm not necessarily sure we have that coaching on our staff right now, though, as far as turning it into a more
I would
passer.
I would say that anybody can develop. I would say that anybody who has the right attitude and comes in can develop. However, my argument, again, still is going to be that this is not what they want. That is not what they want. You're not going to see the type of offense like with Joe. You're not going to see all the play actions and, deep routes and crosses and stuff like they did with him. You're going to see the RPO, where they fumble all the time, and you're going to see someone who lives and dies by the run. I'm sorry, but Lamar Jackson is not an NFL quarterback. He's never going to be an NFL quarterback on the Baltimore Ravens and consistently win games. It's not going to happen. The jury's out. The Chargers gave the blueprint for the rest of the league. That's all you got to do. And guess what? You hold them to pretty much negative. They were negative 7 yards for 3 quarters. Right?
All right. So who does he remind you of in recent years?
Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Who does he remind me of?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he talks, it's like, you ever seen that movie Life?
Yes.
With Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he reminds me of one of them guys mumbling like, "I'm the pappy." You know, he man, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know how to replicate what he says. He just sounds like slow or something when he talks.
Yeah, the way he's saying the right things, but it's coming out in a bit of a like a hood style, and I can't understand half of it. But I think he's saying the right things. At least he's trying to.
It's a little Ebonic, but I wouldn't say it's hood. I would say that's Southern. A little bit of a Southern kind of thing. Not like white Southern, like in the country. I'm talking about like...
He grew up in a project, so...
I'm saying like Louisiana, kind of like that French, New Orleans. That's just what I'm trying to... I don't know. You're not going to get what I'm saying anyways. But he talks...
It's kind of a risque podcast today. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what'd you expect when you called me on here?
Good point.
But,
good point.
I mean, I hate to say this, and I don't mean to trigger anybody, but he just sounds retarded.
Ah, dude. All right. Somebody had to break the R word at some point, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right. Well...
Yeah, you're going to get... post edit right there. Sorry, but
no, I'm not going to edit it. But I just want to say that's not my opinion. I don't think he is.
I said challenged. Like.
No, I don't think he sounds mentally challenged. But
he just. I just listen. It's nothing personal. I don't like him. I don't think he's good.
I don't
think that with him at the helm. What did I tell you? I think the Ravens will go like 4-12. I just don't see it. I see no reason in re-signing John Harbaugh. I mean, he picked his guy in Lamar Jackson. You've seen a sample taste that worked short term. Why resign John Harbaugh to some big, expensive, long-term contract? I think they should make him play out the final year and see how it goes. And I think it's going to be bad.
And even if it's good, I mean, he hits the free market as a free agent, and that'll be unprecedented. But I don't see us going beyond 8-8 next year. Just my opinion.
And I respect that, and I hope that we go 16-0.
I do.
I really do, and I hope that Lamar Jackson, becomes, this great, amazing quarterback that everybody that. I don't even know that he's just great, and then I hope that he's so great that he can call me up and call me the R word.
Yeah,
I've never wanted to be more wrong than I am about Lamar Jackson. Well, because
he's going to show next year what he's got with a full season ahead of him.
But the issue, CJ, is that we've had some dark times at that position.
We really have.
Pre-Joe Flacco.
Do you think that we're in for some more?
I feel that we are. Oh, and maybe it's just me scared because we've had so many problems there. We've had Mr. I don't want to call him reliable or consistent because that wouldn't be accurate of Joe Flacco. but he's been there and he's been the best that the franchise has ever had, right or wrong.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
Right. And he won us a Super Bowl. And if anybody says anything other than that and says that all his postseason thing wasn't that great, then, I mean, they're wrong. They're just being a hater.
He had one of the best postseasons of all times. And that's saying something. I mean, his regular seasons have never been good, but that postseason was fucking magic.
Yes, it was magic, but it doesn't matter anymore because he's gone. and we have Lamar Jackson right now. And
You sound
for
convinced.
me, it's not all about Lamar Jackson. It's about Marty Mornhinweg and his offense.
We haven't fired Marty yet. Do you think we're gonna?
This year, no. We got the offense that him and John Harbaugh won. This is what they wanted. They wanted this run, mobile style. This is what they wanted. So this is what they got.
Terrell Suggs, does he return next year?
I've thought about this. Thought about it quite a bit. And I feel like Terrell feels like he could play another year or two. So, and I think that he would play for not a lot of money. So I think that the Ravens should offer him money, a fair contract for 2 years, to where if they could get out of it in one without, a bunch of dead money or anything, I think that, a team-friendly deal, I think they should do it. Will I think Terrell take it? I think he would. I think he's comfortable. The only place that I would see him leaving here and going to is Arizona.
They don't even have a defensive coordinator yet, though.
I know, but that's where he's from.
Good point. Forgot about that. Yeah, that's where he got arrested at, and that's where he had his bleach incident. And
right, he's a Sun Devil. He's a Arizona Sun Devil. So I mean, we've seen players like that. They go back to their, where they're from and stuff for a year or two. So I mean, I think that there's a good chance that he does come back all in all. But if not, I think that he would seriously tell his agent, hey, get me to Arizona.
I could see that happening. Do you think the Ravens are going to offer him a contract at this point? And do you personally want him here?
I do. Why not? Who else could step up and take what he does right now? Is he the guy that he was even 4, 5, 6 years ago? No. Is he a guy that defenses still, before they snap the ball, make sure they know where he's at? Yes. So again, a team-friendly deal that makes him happy and makes the organization happy. I think he wants to retire, Raven. So let him. Don't do what you did to Ed Reed. Ravens, don't do it.
At the same time, Ed Reed should have known.
I know, but you just hate to see that. You want to see them people finish their careers out there and be it forever. Doesn't matter what team, what team you are a fan of. You want to see somebody like that's been there. You want to see them finish out and be forever with that team.
And I still think he would have done better than Matt Elam.
Oh God, Matt Elam.
It's been some dark times in Baltimore recently.
I tell you what though, me and you, we've watched a lot of drafts and we've gotten right a lot of stuff because we were so upset with that Elam pick.
I remember picking that. I said we were going to pick him or Manti Te'o, and damn it, we definitely went Elam.
Right. I remember before we even picked it, I said, "Oh God, they're going to pick Matt Elam," because he was that in college. He was never a cover guy, never a cover guy at Florida, never. But he would level some people, straight up level some people.
But he couldn't cover a cat turd in a litter box.
No, he couldn't. He was a poor man's Bernard Pollard.
Yeah,
but he doesn't
strength too.
Right, he doesn't even deserve to be in the same conversation as Bernard Pollard because Bernard Pollard couldn't cover, but he would change the game for you.
Yeah, ask him how the Patriots feel about him.
Right. Ask Ridley.
Yeah, really got knocked the fuck out in that championship game back in 2012, 2013.
I'd go as far to say that Ridley was never the same after that.
I would probably say that too. He probably got a couple of his teeth are probably loose right now, and he doesn't remember some names.
Ridley was this real promising rookie, guy, and man, that was a game changer.
I probably would have fumbled the ball too after that, to be honest with you.
Right, and to be a Ravens fan right now, it feels good having these running backs that we have right now.
Agreed.
Huh?
I said agreed. Absolutely. I love some of these guys like Gus the
they're
Bus.
promising, and they did that. I mean, they did that with that garbage offensive line that we're talking about.
Right. It was a pretty good scheme. I got to give credit to the offensive line coach, whoever the hell we have there. But
that zone blocking.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that they were able to mask Matt Skura, of all people, and James Hurst and human turd style turds, and just get the job done as far as the run game is concerned.
They did, and that's promising. But again, when I talk about Lamar Jackson and Marty and stuff, I'm just giving the doom and gloom perspective. We've heard so much, just so much of this positive, unrealistic stuff. We've never really heard much of the other side of. Now, I also say that I don't believe in the Ravens fans booing Lamar at the game is good. I thought that was kind of trashy.
Especially since, I mean, that's the reason, one of the reasons why they got there in the first place was Lamar slowing the offense down.
Right. Exactly. And I agree with that 100%. But if you remember when Joe Flacco did bad and Troy Smith was on the sideline, he wasn't hurt anymore. Joe Flacco got booed a couple times.
That's just Baltimore at some points, man.
Right. Another Heisman guy.
Not necessarily saying they were booing Lamar in general. I think they might have been booing the offensive scheme.
I don't know, dude. When he came back out onto the field in the third quarter, there were some loud boos. You were in the stadium, but I mean, that microphone on that field picked up some loud boos, and that is not from the Flacco chance because to me at that point I felt like Flacco could have helped move the offense and get some production, but the game was gone. I don't think he could have changed the outcome.
He would have came in and played Marty ball, and honestly, it would have gave the Chargers more time to score more. And that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would have changed anything. It was too late at that point. Now, a real okie doke thing that they should have done, and some of these national pundits talked about it, was they should have used Joe Flacco in the game. For some plays to kind of help out with that run stuffing that they were doing, man. They really should have brought Joe out to open up that defense some, to respect the pass a little more.
Yeah, do the opposite of what they did for Joe with Lamar during the first part of the season.
Exactly. But John Harbaugh's too afraid of Joe Flacco coming on, passing a bomb, and getting some success, and then, everybody turns against Lamar. That's what he's scared of.
I can agree with that. I could see that coming. Let's go ahead and leave Lamar in the past right now and talk about some of the future games coming up here this weekend. You okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I mean, I think I got the point across that I don't hate Lamar. I'm just skeptical, and I hope that he succeeds.
And it makes sense. It makes sense why you're skeptical. I can understand that, and he's got a lot of proving to do this year. Let's just go ahead and say it.
Right, and I'll just leave it by saying that I've never been wanted to be wrong more than I am about him.
I agree with that. So coming up this weekend, the first game is Saturday at 4:35 p.m. It's going to be on NBC. It's going to be featuring the Kansas City Chiefs at home versus the Indianapolis Colts away. The last time these two faced off, the score was 30-14 in favor of the Chiefs. The Andrew Luck is so far doing 39 touchdowns to 15 interceptions with 4,593 passing yards, 67.3% completion. Patrick Mahomes is lighting it the fuck up right now. 66%, 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Who do you got winning this weekend? Shitty defenses. Who steps up?
I am going for the absolute upset. I am picking the Indianapolis Colts to beat the Chiefs on their own turf. And let me explain to you why. You say that two shitty defenses. I disagree. I think the Colts defense has really turned it around the past, I think, like 6 or 7 games. And I think that the Colts can do just enough to pull out the upset. If they can slow down that big pass, that big pass attack, or that big play potential that the Chiefs have, I think that the Colts can if they can stay in the game, they can win it. So that's who I'm rolling with.
You got the more experienced quarterback in Andrew Luck, who's had a hell of a year. I mean, he's only right below Patrick Mahomes. So
what did they start the year at? The Colts. It was like Colts, awful.
Yeah, they've won the past 10 out of the past 11 of their games, but they were like 1-5 to start, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And they're super hot right now.
Yeah, they're doing very well. So that's definitely going good for them. But Kansas City is also doing pretty damn well. The thing is about Kansas City, and it's obviously there's a new quarterback in town. So maybe this could change, but they haven't won a home playoff game since Joe Montana was their quarterback.
Oh my God. What year was that?
That was back in the early 90s.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So this would be even more of a hit to them.
That would be the upset, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know, my head is telling me that the Chiefs are going to win, but I can't help but feel like an upset is probable, very probable.
There's a couple situations where I think some upsets could happen. Actually, an upset could very well happen in any of these games. I don't think there's any showstoppers out there right now that can really just hold it down and just blow somebody out as far as the home team is concerned. I think any team could win this weekend, maybe with the exception of the Eagles. Sorry, Brandon. I know you're rooting for them this offseason, but or this postseason, I should say. But I don't. They're
just my second team. That, you know, when we didn't have the Ravens and I was a kid, that's, you know, you had to pick a team. You know.
Yeah, the team I picked was the Packers. I was a Brett Favre guy, but honestly, I like Steve Young more. But I like the Packers as a unit altogether back when I was a kid. But thank God for the Ravens. Thank God we've got a team again. I don't want to have to root for anybody else. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Chiefs finally break that streak this weekend. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about any of these games, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a definitive answer for any of these games, like I was saying. So I think the Chiefs, if I had to, gun to my head, had to pick a score, I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be like a 30-23 game.
I think it's going to be high scoring too, but I'm going to go 30-27 Indy.
I was thinking that at first, but I wasn't sure. It makes sense at the same time.
And I'm going for them because I need to pick an upset.
Yeah.
And I think that I just like that. I like that matchup. I don't know. I would like to see, and it sucks because I'm a Baltimore fan, and you go, oh, you want to see the Colts win? It's kind of ironic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have any ill will. I'm going to roll with the Colts.
I'm not rooting for either team to win.
Neither am I.
I think that's probably going to be the best game of the weekend, to be honest with you.
Yes, I agree. I think that's going to be the closest. I really feel like that's a field goal game.
Very well could be, or a touchdown, one of the two. But they could be fighting for something.
One score game, yeah.
Yeah. So the next game on the list, wow, house phone's ringing. This is the second time that's happened. A third time during a podcast. So the next game coming up is at 8:15 that night. Dallas is traveling to Los Angeles to face not the Chargers, but the Rams, and it's going to be on the Fox Network. The last time these two faced off, it was a 35-30 win for the Rams. It was back in 2017. The stats, let me pull it up. Dak Prescott, not so great. 67% completion, 3,885 yards, 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Jared Goff, on the other hand, 64.9% completion, 4,688 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So slight edge in quarterback goes to Jared Goff. I'm seeing R Prescott here. Is Dak's real name not Dak?
I do not know.
I don't care either. I don't give a shit. So if I had to, I'm going to go ahead and go first on this one. If I had a gun in my head and I had to pick which one I think was going to win, I'm going to go Dallas just because of the the run game versus the shitty defensive line. Even though they have really solid names on the defensive line, they just haven't been performing this season. Like Sue has been shit. Aaron Donald has been pretty damn well as far as like getting the sacks and whatnot, but he hasn't been good at stuff in the run. So I think the run game is going to be potent for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sure that the Rams can overcome that.
Yes, I agree that the Cowboys can have a pretty good rush attack, but I think that this game is going to be a blowout, and I think it's going to be a blowout, and the Los Angeles Rams made sure I was right on that. The LA Rams, I think they win. I think they win pretty convincingly. Because the thing is,
blowout. Damn.
Yes, I think by 10 actually. I think home. I think that defense really steps it up. I think the one thing that they have to do is stop the run, and I think they know that. And I don't know. I really like the Rams in this one.
I could see that, to be honest with you. I like the Rams offense a lot better than I like the Cowboys offense because of the creativity. There's definitely none in Dallas, but defenses are definitely a question. I think Dallas has got the better defense, to be honest with you, at least at this point. If you asked me earlier in the season, I would have went the other way.
Right. But another factor I'm putting in right now, and I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, LA's not that much of a home crowd. But I think the team, comfort-wise being home, it's a playoff game. I think they will have a decent turnout in the stands. I just like the home team in this situation. I feel like they're both kind of equal. But I think that once you take away that run game from Dallas, I feel like they really struggle.
All right, I got the name up. You want to take a stab at his real name?
So it starts with an R, right?
Yes.
I'm going to go Robert.
No, not even close.
Okay, so it's something like Raquel.
It's it might be a little ethnic. Yeah.
Raquisha?
It's a male name. Actually, it could be a female name too.
Ryan?
Close. Rain.
Rain?
Rayne. His middle name is Dakota, so that's where Dak comes from. Prescott.
Yeah, I can see why he sticks with Dak.
Yeah, I'd probably go by Dak too. Honestly, yeah. Why the hell would you put your middle name on a boy as Dakota? Whatever. Transgender, whatever.
Rain. So
anybody can be anything nowadays.
Yes. You can be whatever you want.
I identify as potato personally.
A potato?
Yes.
I identify as a spenny. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. Am I going to have to Urban Dictionary that?
No. You never watched the show Kenny versus Spenny?
No.
Oh my God! Anybody is listening right now. They're jumping out of their chair because you've never watched Kenny versus Spenny.
A lot of people jump out of their chairs when I don't know who the fuck Freddie goddamn Kitchens is.
I don't know. He looks like he brings the kitchen with him too. That's a big boy, ain't it?
You're calling him fat.
Well.
All right, so you got a blowout coming on for the Rams versus the Cowboys.
I do, and you, after this podcast, are going to watch a Kenny versus Spenny.
Well, I got some karaoke to do tonight, but is it on Netflix?
I think you can get full episodes on YouTube for free. It was a public broadcasted show. It was like in the Jackass era.
Okay.
It was a show where like two friends like competed against each other, like stupid competitions. It's funny. It's funny. You'll like it. But yeah, next game.
Kenny versus Spenny. Okay, I'll write that down. The next one is another LA team, the LA Chargers, San Diego Chargers, if you still want to call them that. They're traveling to New England on Sunday at 1 o'clock, 1:05 p.m. Eastern game. It's going to be on CBS. I'm not even going to ramble off the stats because the stats are pretty damn good for both guys. This is my upset. I think the Chargers are going to win. I don't know how, but I think
CJ,
Yeah.
It is 100% true that opposites attract, because we are completely different on every single pick tonight. I think that there's only one team that can go into Gillette Stadium and win in the playoffs.
And they're eliminated.
And they are eliminated. So I don't see it. Don't see it happening. I think
he's doing it for his 9th kid, man. He's doing it for number 9.
And you know what? I have nothing against the Chargers. I think it would be a great little Cinderella story for them to win it all. I really do. I wouldn't mind seeing Phillip Rivers, get that ring and possibly walk into the sunset. But I mean, that is a tough place, man. That is a tough place.
But you're facing a much softer team this time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Patriots are not the Patriots of old.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally, because, Tom Brady is, close to an AARP card.
He's got to be. I mean, he's 40 now, so.
He's like 42.
41, I believe. Yeah, you're right.
41, yeah. So they're not the same. But regardless of how good they are, that is a hard place to go into and win. I think that the Patriots, as much as I hate to say it, I think that they pull it off.
And it's not a bad pick, to be honest with you. I tussled with it a little bit, but it's just my gut is telling me that there's going to be an upset this weekend, and I think that's going to be it. It makes sense. That's a safer pick to go with the Patriots because they're known for doing shit in the playoffs. They just are.
Right. I mean, they're known for opening up that green playbook out of the Water Boy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That green folded old rusty notebook, and coming up with some wild plays, and especially plays that we even question if they're legal or not. But
when you're out there playing foosball with Bobby, then
yeah, I really
you got to come up with some interesting plays.
Yeah, I mean, I defensively, the Patriots stink.
They're awful, god awful.
Defensively, the Chargers are pretty decent. Offensively, the Patriots are pretty decent, and offensively, the Chargers are pretty decent. So I think
yourself out of this one.
No. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers won. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Chargers went in there and skull dragged them.
I'd be okay with it too, even though they just beat our asses.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, how many good teams have went into Gillette and just completely fell flat.
I've seen them all line up. I've seen them all try, and I've seen them all fail. With the exception of really one.
Exactly. And if nobody knows who that is, they should Google it.
Yeah, they should look up the and it's available on YouTube. The 2012-2013 AFC Championship game. Completely available and free. 2009 wild card game. So
yes,
look that one up.
It opened up with what was that, 80-yard run?
Yeah, it was something like that. Ray Rice right up the middle.
Yes, and it wasn't the hey diddle diddle.
No, the Chargers.
But that was up the middle, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was over the middle.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk. I think we can agree on this one. I mean, go with your mind on this next one.
Okay.
The defending Super Bowl champions are coming in to New Orleans, and the stats this year: Carson Wentz. Oh wait, he's injured. So you got Nick Foles coming in. I'm not sure what his stats are because they're only showing Carson Wentz is up on the screen for some reason. This is the only year in a while that Drew Brees has gotten under 4,000 yards by 8 yards. He missed it by 8 yards, man. 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 74.4% completion rating. And they've got Alvin Kamara, they've got Mark Ingram, they got Michael Thomas. I am going with the Saints.
Yeah, so that Foles magic is pretty crazy, isn't it, though?
It is.
It is. But I'm going to surprise you on this pick, actually. I'm not going to just pick with my mind. I'm going to pick with my heart, too. I'm picking the New Orleans Saints.
Wow, all right. You finally went with your mind.
Right. But I feel good about the Saints. I feel like Drew Brees, I would feel awfully good about him getting another ring.
Yeah, it would make sense. I think honestly that his scar on his face grows deeper and wider for every year that he doesn't get a Super Bowl ring. So maybe this will finally cure it up for him. But Drew Brees has gotta, if he wants to be considered, I think he's a Hall of Famer personally.
I think there's no question. I don't think this out. No, they're on drugs.
I think it's a stat padding era, and I think that he's one of the best that I've ever seen.
The stat padding. Listen, the people that vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame are what? Older generation sports writers and columnists. That's who votes for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it's not all about stats and numbers. Now that's going to change because more of these older guys keep falling off into this generation of the Madden era. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, and I think that he's first ballot without a question. I think he could go in to this game and completely fall flat on his face and retire, and I still think he makes it.
Yeah, I concur with that 100%, but I think he's going to come in this weekend, and you were talking about this earlier. I think this is going to be the blowout game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Eagles fan as my secondary team. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm also realistic. And I think that the Eagles kind of limped their way into the playoffs, and I don't think the talent's there.
Oh, they came in ass backwards into the playoffs.
Right, and you know what? I think it's kind of cool. They kind of broke that, win a Super Bowl and then don't make the playoffs next year kind of thing that was going on for a while.
Yep.
I think that's kind of cool. And I think that Philly fans are happy that they they just came off a Super Bowl win, so they're still happy. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I think New Orleans, it's like every time they go up against stiff competition, they find a way. I mean, they come into Baltimore and, they face this unbelievable defense, and right off the bat, they're going for it on fourth down and, their own territory and stuff. I mean, they're just, they're ruthless, and I agree with you 100%. I think that this game's not even close.
So that's the only game we've agreed on thus far. You picked the Indianapolis Colts, the Los Angeles Rams. You picked the New England Patriots, as well as the New Orleans Saints. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, the LA Chargers, LA, not San Diego, and the New Orleans Saints. So one of us is going to owe each other a beer coming up next week.
Yeah, I got no issue betting beer. I wouldn't say it's that fair because I drink the cheap stuff and you drink the the craft stuff. So but yeah, I'm down. I think that any of these games could go either way, honestly.
And like I said, yeah, and it could be a situation where any of these teams could blow out the other team, but I don't think it's going to happen personally, except for
the only game I don't think that Philly would blow out the Saints.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the opposite could happen.
Yes, that's the only game where I feel like it's going to be like murder. I know I said that I thought the Rams would win convincingly against Dallas, but I think that the margin could be even greater with the Saints and Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles are going to be pissed off because the last time those two faced off, Eagles got the score ran up on them. So they're going to try their damnedest, but I'm not sure. And sometimes your best isn't good enough.
I hate that. They're grown men. You know what I mean? Stop complaining about the score being ran up on you. No one cares.
Yeah. Then go in there and do something about it, bitch.
Right. Do something about it. I don't get that.
All right, man. That's the end of my format. Do you have anything you want to add on before I shut the podcast off for the week?
Did we cover everything?
I think we did. I think so. We talked about who the fuck is Cliff Kingsbury. Got Freddie goddamn Kitchens in there. We have to talk about him every week for some reason. Vic Fangio, Adam Gase, Terrell Suggs, Lamar Jackson, the games. I think we covered everything. Anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I I wanted to bring up something that you don't talk about much.
Yeah.
The Orioles.
Jesus, tap dancing
And
Christ.
baseball.
What do you want to talk about, Brandon?
So,
who's the new skipper?
Mike Elias.
Are you happy with that?
I am. And let me tell you why. Do you know anything about him?
I really don't, other than I think he worked for the Astros, right?
Right. Turned a team that went by the Lastros.
Yep. And he turned them into first place.
Oh, yeah. With, young guys that wound up becoming some great talents. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with the manager hiring.
Mm-hmm. The guy who took over for Duquette?
No, took over
skipper.
for
Okay.
Buck.
Okay, yeah.
Took over for Buck.
Who took over for Duquette, though?
Well, Duquette was the Mike Elias. I'm sorry, I got you all mixed up. Yeah, the Mike Elias is the general manager. The new manager is a gentleman that has a really good first name. His name is Brandon Hyde. And he was with the Cubs. So, Cubs just won a World Series.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
Talk about other teams that have went from last to first in a hurry. That I'm looking forward to this season coming up. I don't think you should put your expectations very high. But I think it's going to be better.
Putting my expectations high at all. I think that it's going to be some pretty crappy for at least a couple years, at least. But I think that they could do better. I think they can win more than. I think they can win less than how do I say this? I think they won't have to lose 100 games. I think they can lose less games.
Okay, so you think they can win more games this season coming up?
Yes, but when you have a team that doesn't win that many games, I'm going with the greater number, which is the losses.
Okay.
Because there's 161 or 62 games or something like that, and when you're winning 40 some, you go with bringing them losses down. Because that's a lot of losses. But
it was painful to watch, and I got a feeling that they're turning over the pitching staff this year, right?
I think we have a couple veterans that we signed last year that didn't play that well. And we got a couple young guys that are bringing in too, but they kind of got to redo the bullpen because we lost a lot in the bullpen, and we traded away.
Traded away a lot of pieces.
Yeah,
we got peanuts for them.
Yeah, but you take that payroll off, but we know that they're not going to spend that money again.
Can they take Chris Davis off the payroll somehow? Could somebody trade for that?
Nope, because in baseball, contracts are guaranteed, and you couldn't.
Nobody's going to take that bullshit contract.
No, you couldn't get a reach around for him.
Not even a Klondike bar, nothing.
No. Klondike bar would be too much.
Yeah.
You couldn't get anything for him.
I still can't believe we signed him to that contract. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was awful. So there's definitely some dark times ahead, but when you're at the very bottom, you can only go up. That's just the best way to look at it right now, I guess.
Well, I hope you're fucking happy. You made me talk about baseball on my football podcast.
I did. And now let's talk about soccer. Just kidding.
Yeah, we're done with that. Thank you very much. Brandon, thank you very much for coming back on the podcast. And
thanks, dude.
No problem. I hope to have you on again in the future. Maybe you and Chad can come on and debate about Lamar Jackson.
Maybe. I listen. I love Chad. I'm just giving an alternate opinion.
I hear you
because
I would love to have it though. I'd love to have the debate. To be honest with you,
I have no problem doing it. But in the end, we're all still friends and stuff. So it wouldn't be a very heated debate because I respect his opinion. I just wanted to give. When I heard his spiel, I heard nothing constructive. It was just.
And you came on and had to be deconstructive.
I had to be deconstructive some, but again, like I said, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Chad is right, and we have the Messiah in disguise.
All right, Brandon. Till next time.
Dude.
Thank you, man.
Have a good time at karaoke.
We'll do. How the hell did I get stuck talking about goddamn baseball? I have no idea. So a little bit of an edit here and peeling back the curtain. I did this on Thursday night with Brandon, and I'm doing the editing now on Friday evening for this. So there's been a little bit of a news development. There has been a promotion of Greg Roman to offensive coordinator. Marty Morningwig was asked to stay on the staff in a different capacity, but it looks like Marty Morningwig has moved on, and he's going to go try to find another job in the NFL. So with that said, I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. I'm not sure if anybody knew that or anybody cared, but it should be an interesting offseason to come with Greg Roman at the helm in Baltimore as far as the offense is concerned. So that concludes this week's FAPT. Next week, I'm going to try to get a very special guest on here. We're going to see if I can arrange that. It's going to be the son of Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. His name is A-Flo. So I'd like to be able to get him on to talk about Minnesota Vikings, the current product, whatever comes to our minds, just as usual, because that's what the FAP's all about. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening this week. I really appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next week.